What's up? Today I'm going to show you how to create a painting in the style of Dutch-born abstract artist Piet Mondrian. While Mondrian is known for progressing through a range of styles, his most influential work was created primarily during the 1920s and 1930s. He's famous for a style of painting called Neo-Plasticism, which uses bold, intersecting black lines filled in with primary colors. Primary colors, red, yellow, blue, are the building blocks for all other colors. By using primary colors, Mondrian felt that he was distilling color down to its most basic essence. Through his art, Mondrian was attempting to connect with the truest and simplest essence of the natural world, which he expressed through line, shape, and color. Mondrian was deeply impacted by living through the turbulence and upheaval of 2 world wars. His greatest hope was that his paintings would inspire more peace and harmony in society. And here's my doggie. Hey, Chico. Well, I don't know about that, but Mondrian's style has had a huge impact on modern architecture, fashion, and design. To get started, grab either a ruler or a long strip of paper that you can use as a ruler. You're going to use your pencil and ruler to draw a series of 1/4 inch thick vertical and horizontal lines on your paper, which will look something like this. See how I'm using my ruler here to draw a straight horizontal line across my paper? Now that I've drawn one line, I'm going to draw a second parallel line right next to it. This way, when I fill it in, this line will be about as thick as my pinky finger. Now I'm going to use my ruler to draw a vertical line and then another parallel line right next to it. Notice how the first 2 lines I've drawn go all the way across my paper. Try also adding lines that do not go all the way across, but stop when they bump into another line. You might try putting some of your lines really close together like I'm doing right here. Notice how the vertical line I'm adding right here doesn't quite go all the way across my paper. See how this vertical line I'm drawing only goes halfway across my paper, then stops when it gets to this line. Try adding a few really short lines to your paper, like this line right here. Continue using your ruler to add vertical and horizontal lines to your paper that intersect and have different lengths. And keep doing this until you're satisfied with how it looks. You might be like me and think you're done, and then look at it again and go back and decide to add a couple more lines. Just remember to keep it fairly simple. If you go overboard with detail, your painting's going to take forever to finish. Okay, now we're ready to start filling in the rectangles with primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. If you want, you could use markers for this, but I'm going to use acrylic paint. You might find it easier to paint several yellow areas at a time. This way you don't have to rinse your brush out after each rectangle you paint because you won't be switching back and forth between colors as much. If your paint is scratchy and not gliding smoothly onto your paper, try adding just a couple drops of water to your paint. You can see when I started to add my red paint here, I was like, too thick and goopy. So I'm just dipping it in the water and adding a little bit of water to my brush as I paint. And that way I can make the lines a lot smoother. They glide on more easily. So now, before I switch colors, I'm going to choose a couple other rectangles to paint red. Guess what color's next? That's right, blue! I decided it would be fun and in keeping with Mondrian's style if I painted a few rectangles black. You might try doing this as well. Another thing you want to keep in mind if you're going for that classic Mondrian look is you'll want to leave about 1/3 of the rectangles on your paper white. Don't forget to do this. Those white rectangles are really important. Now that I'm done painting my rectangles, I'm going to let my paint dry completely. Now that the paint is totally dry, I'm going to use a Sharpie to color in the vertical and horizontal lines. If you want to be a perfectionist like me, you can use a ruler and a Sharpie to redraw the lines and then color in between them. If you try using a Sharpie to do this before your paint is totally dry, it will ruin the Sharpie, so be warned. And make sure your paint is completely dry before you add the Sharpie. You might find it helpful to rotate your paper as you work. Okay, one more time here, you can see how I'm lining up my ruler with the edge of the pencil marks I made before, and then tracing a black line with the Sharpie. Whoops, there we go. And then moving my ruler over to line up with the other pencil line I made. And again here, tracing over it with the Sharpie. Then I'm setting my ruler aside and using my Sharpie to fill in the area between these two lines. If you're having a hard time using the ruler, then just try freehanding it. It should be fine. Dun dun dun! I have a ton of other amazing art lessons on this channel, so if you enjoyed watching, be sure to subscribe and check out my other videos.